good morning. Welcome to SmartMen's I'm entrepreneur. Yesterday is the 11th of April, and of course I know it's been quite a very long weekend, and of course I will come you back. That is from the Easter break. Hope you really had fun, and of course above all making sure that you sit back and you sit down and reflect. And it's been quite very tricky times, very fast. People were thinking about quite so many perspectives, but of course above all you shouldn't really forget to maintain or retain that is your business mindset, because that's what is responsible. That is for your sustainability. Well, it's a very great morning. Of course, no rains like of course in the past weeks, whereby the mornings are quite very cold, but now it's quite a little bit mild, and I hope business is going to be really much more efficient when it comes to execution. That is by the different personalities. Well, a very good morning once again, and of course we're still in here. I hope you're really doing great. We have quite lots of conversations, very interesting conversations regarding business, of course driving your business, giving you that relevant information regarding whatever you need to know. But of course, before we get into any of the discussions, probably what you should anticipate on the show, of course, we shall be looking at the aspect of the Uganda Law Society, of course, which is going to be coming in as our very first update in here. That is emphasizing the use of the rule of law. And of course, in this way, urging the government to make sure that this is really quite executed efficiently. And of course, as we shall be heading, we shall be taking a look at what are those economies to watch out for. That is in the sub-Saharan Africa. That is come 2023, this very year. That is a report according to IMF. I guess you could definitely, I can't wait to really find out what those countries are. But of course, surprisingly, our country, Uganda, is nowhere to be seen. And of course, what does that really mean for the country? Well, more of those discussions will be coming up. Of course, stay tuned on Smartmen's Business as we keep driving it in here. And of course, very efficiently. But of course, before we get into any further, let's first get into our very first update. And this time around, like I told you, looking at the Uganda Law Society, emphasizing the use of rule of law, and of course, urging government to act according to the law at the same time.
It is a local Havana and Viana. Children who are born in the very local, and then those who are born outside. So police has been treated as a Viana for some time. Because when you give, we are not saying don't give the judiciary all the budget, but if they are driving comfortably, getting salaries which are comfortable. My sister Bod also keeps struggling, but you forget the one who takes the cases to them. Then I think strategically you are missing out something. So we have been feeling like a Viana. That's why we are here to partner with you. And when you listen to us, I think we are going to have a better administration of justice. I can tell you, if the Uganda police does not protect the judges, if we woke up, in fact I had thought of it, but I am not, I'm a small man. I told the principal judge, but supposing we withdraw our security in the morning, will you leave your homes to go to this? I'm not sure they would. Why? Because the same criminals we are arresting, they are breaking people's homes, they are doing everything. The following day they are back to the society. But because the other group is highly protected, they will just release them without minding about society. So I was challenging them to start having the context in which the judiciary is operating in this country.
Today we have launched our 25th quarterly rule of law report. As Uganda Law Society, one of our core mandates is to monitor rule of law and good governance in this country. We use that through the rule of law reports that we launch at a quarterly basis. The rule of law reports provide a review of the rule of law breaches and violations that have taken place in the quarter. In this specific quarter, we're looking at the quarter between January and March. There are it has been a busy season for rule of law, and therefore I'm just going to summarize the critical issues that have come out of the report. One of the issues that has come out of the report is the recommendation by the Uganda Law Society continuing to appeal to government that civilians are tried by civilian courts. We have heard about 2 constitutional court decisions on this point, on whether civilians can be tried by military courts, and we have continued to appeal to government to respect the court order that and the constitutional interpretation that has been given, that civilians should be tried by civilian courts and military people are tried by military courts. That has come out through the report, where we have advised and continue to advise government. There are so many other issues that have happened during this quarter. The others include the iron sheet, Karamoja iron sheet scandal, where we have said that everyone must be prosecuted, everyone who is involved in the iron sheet scandal must be prosecuted, because public officers hold these offices in trust for Ugandans, and therefore if they breach their public duty, they must be prosecuted in accordance with the law. The other issues that we have raised in the report include there is increasing violation of children's rights. We have given examples, about 3 examples in the last a month that have touched on violation of children's rights, and we have continued to emphasize that it is high time the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Welfare that is responsible for children's rights starts to look at this. It's time that the government and all other stakeholders pay attention to the issue of violation of children's rights. We've also, of course, had during the quarter the issue of the NEMA law, which was saying that all citizens must be able to carry a dustbin. We have re-emphasized the point that the provisions of the law, nowhere in the provisions of the law do they obligate a member of the public to carry a dustbin. And we have said as Uganda Law Society, we love the environment, we love a clean and healthy environment, but we also love rule of law. And it is important that any decision that is being done or being made is made within the confines of the law.
Well, that's regarding, of course, the Uganda Law Society urging the government to embrace, that is the rule of law, and regarding to quite lots of, so many circumstances, and, that is something quite very interesting. Of course, we shall be having further of that as we go ahead with the show. But of course, away from that, at this very time, let's get into what's happening. That is into the print media, what's really making headlines regarding business and other related matters. It could be social affairs, and so many other aspects that matter. And of course, as always, I'm going to start with the new vision in here, and we take a look at what's really that is making headlines. That is in here. And of course, we see here on the top, the very top page of the new vision, of course, government to recruit 3,000, that is 600 doctors. And of course, we shall be taking a look at these further. And of course, still seeing in here that 69,000 that is required as staff ceiling for health centers 3 and 4 is raised. And of course, rising that means they need more of these health workers. All right, now of course, taking a look in here, still on the very story that we just saw on the very top page, that is government to recruit 69,000 doctors. That is nurses, and of course government has approved the revised structure, that is for health centers, that is a 4 and 3, a move that will require additional 69,000 medical workers and support staff, that is country-wide. Of course, more of those details, you will be checking them out. That is in the new vision regarding what is that story really about. And now still in, we see iron sheets. And now we see President writes to Nabanja over implicated ministers. And of course, writing to the Prime Minister regarding that very much. Of course, I know you could be interested to really check out and find out what really does it entail further, or from regarding the details. You can, of course, check out these very matters. And of course, something which has been moving, that is around social media. And of course, lifestyle of beggar shocks Mutungo residents. Of course, people begging him for money. And of course, there are anticipations that he actually is a spy. Found him with a gun and spying devices regarding that matter. And of course, still in here, the members of parliament divided over approving that is 2.97 trillion supplementary expenditure. Yes, and of course, this is something which is also a developing aspect and a very interesting regarding that matter. You can check it out further of the details that is regarding the new vision. Okay, now still in here, very interesting aspects here. And of course, taking a look at the Easter babies, 80 born in 3 hospitals. Of course, that is in Kampala. Something very adorable in that particular incident as we take a look in here. And of course, still in here, the government, we see earmarks 60 billion Ugandan shillings. That is for anti-tick vaccine. Yes, 60 billion available, of course, to curb, to make sure that those vaccines are really distributed. Most especially for those farmers out there that have large herds of cattle. And of course, these are one of the issues that the cows really go through. And of course, the government has earmarked that is 60 billion Ugandan shillings towards research and development, that is of anti-tick vaccine. And of course, the agriculture minister, that is Frank Tumwebaze, he's set, of course, revealed that the funds are catered for, that is in the next year's financial budget. So that is something, of course, something which is of great importance and something I can call great news. That is to the farmers out there this time around. I mean, this is something very key. And of course, still in here, taking a look at Episcopal Conference, of course, calls for tolerant and a corruption-free Uganda. Well, of course, Catholic bishops under the Uganda, that is a Episcopal Conference, have called, of course, that is for a corruption-free and tolerant Uganda. Regarding those matters, of course, you can really find out what is the details regarding this matter. What is that aspect that is on their mind regarding this very matter. And of course, still in here, we see it, of course, a statement in here that it is illegal, of course, to detain bodies over non-payment. Of course, that is something which President Yoweri Museveni, of course, saying, and of course, he has urged that is senior doctors not to leave. That is the running senior, of course, the running of health facilities to medical interns. Yes, something which is known to really appropriate for the health of the Ugandans in there. Of course, Museveni saying that, you know, it is illegal to detain bodies over non-payment. And of course, urging the senior doctors not to leave these health facilities to be run, that is by medical internees. And of course, still in here, we see that a careful enterprise selection, vital for the parish development model success. And of course, says Minister Bahati. Well, what does this really entail? You'll check that out in the new vision as we take a look in here. All right, still taking a look in here. And of course, government, still in here, government holds upgrade of health centers too. Of course, the countrywide upgrade, that is of health centers 2 to health centers 3, hangs, of course, in a balance. And of course, taking a look at following a budget cut of 80.6 billion Ugandan shillings. And of course, the ministry will not undertake, that is any upgrade of the health centers in the financial year 2023-2024. And of course, because the development of the budget has been cut, that is to 152 billion, that is Ugandan shillings. Well, you'll be checking out more of that matter, more of that story. That is in the new vision. Of course, taking a look at what's happening in there. All right. And now, of course, taking a look at the comment section in here. Of course, keep up the momentum. That is in the anti-corrupt fight. Of course, you can really get to understand what is happening in there regarding that is corruption. All right, now, still further in here, we see oil, gas, and infrastructure. Yes, and of course, this is the oil and gas infrastructure sector. And of course, taking a look at regulatory reforms which will attract investors Of course, that is Africa's energy market. What are those regulatory reforms? Definitely, you'll be checking that out into the new vision as we proceed. And of course, still in here in the oil, gas, and infrastructure, we see that more gold, critical minerals discovered, of course, in over 18 districts. Yes, more gold, critical minerals discovered in 18 districts. Of course, what are those minerals? You might be really wanting to know what are those new minerals that are being discovered. Of course, the new vision will be having that all for you in here. And of course, still some sort of an opinion. Oil gas contractors, of course, must pay taxes. Yeah, definitely, when it comes to those matters. Of course, Uganda's tax regime was upgraded in 2008. That is ahead of the development and the production phase of the country's oil and gas projects. And of course, it has successfully been tested locally and internationally. So they need to pay taxes. That is the contractors of the different related companies. Well, putting aside that is the new vision, and of course it's exactly 18 minutes past 7. Very shortly we shall be getting to take a look at what's happening. That is in traffic, and of course that's around Wandegea. That is for the people that are coming in from those areas, and you connect to the Wandegea junction, Wandegea traffic lights. We shall be finding out how is the traffic atmosphere in there. Now, taking a look, of course, at the Daily Monitor, in here we see government starts fresh payroll audit. Of course, we shall be taking a look at that. And of course, still in here, something on a very sad notice about 4 family members, of course, in Luengo accident were buried. It was very devastating. And of course, may the families of the mourning families, God give them the comfort. And may the deceased, God grant them an eternal rest. Well, still in here, we see police ICT director hands over to man he replaced. Regarding this matter, you'll be checking out what does it really entail. Well, more of that will be coming in here. And of course, we still didn't see here President Yoweri Museveni embarks on tour of West Nile sub-region. What will this be like? Well, you'll be checking out that more details regarding that matter. Okay, now still in here, government carrying out that is a fresh payroll audit, and of course this is to determine that is the exact number of civil servants. Of course, civil servants it employs rather, discovering the exact number of civil servants the government employs and find out exactly how much it should be paying. That's in salaries, so that's why this fresh audit is really coming up in here, determining how many civil servants in here, and of course how government can deal with that. Now, this very time, let's get connected with Joram, and of course we take a look. This is Wandegea, taking a look at the traffic atmosphere in there, what is really happening in there as we take a look. And of course the situation seems to be slightly calm in a way. Of course, that is dependent on the route that you're going to be using, because you'll find that some routes are actually fresh and other routes are actually not very okay. So that is what we are observing in this matter in here. As we take a look at, of course, for the traffic, I know it's been a long, not really long, but slightly long. Of course, it's the break. People just breaking off away from the breaks, reporting back to work. Now taking a look at that is the Makere route, which seems to be it's always one of those congested routes actually, because there are various residents that use that route. You know, talking about people coming in from Kasumi, people coming in from Nakulabye, and of course, you know, probably that majority use this route. And remember, there are 3 sets of traffic lights. Of course, in the Sapalo junction, there is one in there. And of course, at the Makere main gate, there are sets of traffic lights. So you find that by the time you come towards, that is the Wandegea, the main route, the main traffic lights. Well, you've gone through quite some sort of jam and many stopovers at this very moment. Yes, of course, that is what we anticipate. I'm seeing quite lots of border people in there, and of course the traffic officers have to make sure that they put all this in very full control. And of course, now away, switching our eyes away from Makerere route. Now we'll take a look at that is the Bombo route. Yes, the Bombo route. That is for the people, Kalere, Bwaise, majority of the people that actually which use this route, and of course reporting to town. That is the situation like in there. Of course, seeing according to the look of things, the vehicles are moving. Yes, probably they've just been released to get into the different destinations. So for the people coming in from those areas, and you're coming to town to execute business, you're coming in from Kalere, you're coming in from Bwaise, probably it's a little fair. Maybe in the later hours of the day, it will become much more congested. But according to the look of things, the situation, of course, Bombo Road coming to town seems slightly calm regarding that very matters. Of course, it's some sort of a rush hour. People making sure that they have to report to work in time after quite a long Easter break. Regarding that very matter. And now taking a look at the vehicles that are coming in from town, heading straight to Wandegea, and of course some heading towards Mulago. We get to see, of course, there is a flow of the vehicles, a bit efficient in a way of that. Now taking our eyes back to the Makerere route, it seems still a little bit congested. So probably if you're staying in Kasubi, Namongona, you could, if you're staying in Kasubi, you could try using Bakuli route. You connect straight to Bakuli, and probably you connect in there, most especially if you're coming to town. I know this Wandegea route might seem a little bit of a shortcut, but it might delay you a little bit. Yes, Bakuli might be congested, but at least they're known. It's known as we're seeing in here. It's Makerere route is very congested. You could, like I said, you could probably opt for the Bakuli route because it doesn't have quite so many traffic lights heading towards that side. Of course, quite many vehicles in here. Of course, like I told you, there are 3 sets of traffic lights. The Sao Paulo Junction, and of course, accompanied with the Makerere main gate traffic lights around there, and then you have to come in here. So the vehicles are really moving at quite a very slow rate, and it's the most congested route amongst all the routes that is on the Wandegea traffic light junction. So definitely that is something that you should put at the back of your mind. And a business person that is planning to come to town and have a successful day, or probably you made an appointment and you have to really abide by what you made in that appointment to ensure that you keep time. So, and you're coming in from Kasubi, probably using the Wandegea route to connect to town might not be efficient. It might seem a shortest route to reach you there, but you might spend some good time to reach your desired destination. So you could try probably the best alternative away from that. Officers, of course, as always, and such times, they always take over the traffic lights. There are rare cases where we see the traffic lights being in full control. The traffic movement, in most cases, there is some sense of, human involvement. Reason being that sometimes people take advantage of being a traffic-free area, a traffic officer-free. Then they just do whatever they feel like doing. And now that is, of course, taking a look at the routes connecting. That is for the people coming in from Mulago and Kamocha at the same time. You realize that actually, before you reach this very junction, the Wandegea junction, the Wandegea roundabout is always congested. And according to what I'm seeing a fleet of vehicles coming in from there. So residents from Kamocha, coming in from Mulago, probably Mulago might be a little nearer for the people coming in there. You could probably be patient. But if you're coming from Kamocha and you plan to pass via the Mulago roundabout, you might be delayed to reach in the appropriate time possible. You could probably try out some other alternatives that will enable you to reach efficiently home, and of course travel wherever where you're heading. It could be work, it could be business execution, any. And now, of course, taking a look at the Kampala road, of course, all the way from Wandegea connecting to Kampala. It seems a little bit free, but it's because Many vehicles are held at the back, but once they are released, in most cases, there is a congestion ahead of them. As you can see, now those are the borders, just a fleet of them, quite so many, accompanied with taxis. Like I just said, you'll realize that ahead there is some sort of a congestion. That is for the people that are heading to Kampala. You're coming in from Wandega, you're coming in from Lago, and you're heading to Kampala. That is what you're likely to face. But of course, it's not as sluggish as that compared to the other route of Makerere. You could probably reach in time. And most especially for a person coming in from Bombo Road, you're going to use rather the Bombo route to connect to town. And at the same time, you're coming in from Mulago, you're connecting to the city center. You will be able to execute your business very efficiently and appropriate. Well, 28 minutes past 7, and that is it regarding the traffic updates this morning. And of course, Smart means business in here as we keep driving your business. And of course, never forget, all this is empowered by Zabu. Yeah, we just made your trading experience much more easy and friendly. *292#. If that is the magic code, as you'll be available with quite lots of options. You can buy government bonds and securities with as little as 15,000. But of course, you can invest more than that, but that is the minimum requirement. Of course, 15,000 you get in shillings. And of course, the markets will be opening at 8:15 a.m. and they will be closing at 3:15 p.m. That is East African time. And they're always open Monday to Friday, of course, except on the weekends and the public holidays when the markets are not in operation. Yes, that is when, of course, you're not in position to access the markets. But the rest of the days, you can really make as much profits as you feel like. No more hassle. Of course, no more paperwork. Zabu, my money, my future. All takes East Africa do something new. And now let's get into a short commercial break. And of course, when I return, of course, more interesting conversations coming in around East Africa and the international community at large. Good morning.